Everybody knows God, right? I mean, Morgan Freeman. Will Smith, of course. We met him before the slap.
Ah, oh, that's hot. That's hot.
And what about Ncuti Gatwa? You know, he was in Barbie and Sex Education. But these are just actors who have managed to shine in productions with their participation. So I took on the challenge of finding underrated movies. I put on my 3D glasses and started searching and searching. After hours, I finally found the best black-led cinematic gems that you, my friend, should know about today. So make yourself comfortable, grab a bowl of popcorn, and silence your phone, because I am District Flicker, and this is Underrated Black-Led Movies You Shouldn't Miss. Eve's Bayou, 1997.
Don't you think you're being a little immature?
I beg your pardon?
Okay, let's talk about a gem that was celebrated in its time, but seems to go unrecognized today. This is Eve's Bayou, released in 1997. Nominated for 9 awards, winning 5 of them. And how could it not with such an impressive cast? Including Jurnee Smollett, Samuel L. Jackson, Lynn Whitfield, Megan Good, Debbie Morgan, Diane Carroll, and Vondie Curtis Hall. The story revolves around Eve, the youngest of the Batiste family, a wealthy African-American family living near the bayou, the swampy area of southern Louisiana. Her privileged childhood is abruptly shattered when she becomes a direct witness to her father's infidelity, leading her to delve into the dark corners and secrets of her family and strange events related to voodoo rituals imported by Caribbean slaves. A very solid drama, carefully directed and excellently acted, that conducts a study of characters and emotions, focusing on the characters of an affluent African-American family in the South. So much so that the prestigious American critic, Roger Ebert, hailed it as one of the best films of 1997. Talk to Me, 2007.
I have much more than just a feeling.
So we need to put somebody on the air in the next 2 minutes or we go black.
Black, black, black.
And we continue with Talk to Me, the true story of an African-American ex-convict, Petey Greene, who became a popular radio host in Washington, D.C. during the turbulent 1960s. The man has a special gift for connecting with people, which he developed in prison over the public address system. Thanks to his partnership with producer Dewey Hughes, who is also black, he will succeed at the microphone. The plot may sound a bit conventional, but Casey Lemons delivers a gripping story that develops the relationship between the two men. One a bit of a troublemaker, the other more formal, where each takes on the characteristics of the other. There are memorable moments, such as the day of Martin Luther King's assassination, which begins with a fight between Petey and another radio star over a woman, and ends with the responsibility of addressing a historic moment and urging listeners to remain calm. The performances by Don Cheadle and Chiwetel Ejiofor are memorable. It's hard to decide which is better. Daughters of the Dust, 1991.
When they go down in the water, they ain't never come up. And nobody can walk on water.
How about something a little more experimental, but still historical? This is what we can say about Daughters of the Dust, with a profound and poetic story. Set in the early 20th century, a multi-generational family from the Gullah community on the Sea Islands off South Carolina, former slaves from West Africa who adopted many Yoruba traditions from their ancestors, struggle to maintain their cultural heritage and folklore while contemplating migration to the mainland, even further from their roots. Daughters of the Dust was the first film directed by an African-American woman to be distributed in the U.S. theaters. Night Catches Us, 2010. At the end of the 1960s, revolution seemed to be in the air. Not a revolt powerful enough to overthrow the government, but intense enough to threaten its expectations. But the war ended, conscription was over, and the moment passed. Night Catches Us takes place in Philadelphia in 1976, when the Black Panthers are still alive in memory. The movie doesn't open with that big canvas, but with the small one. Marcus, Anthony Mackie, walks past a Cadillac in a driveway and enters a house and is told, "Your father is in the living room." The introduction of the father is an example of a shot that does the work of a lot of dialogue. Marcus has a brother, Bostic Tariq Trotter, who harbors much anger towards him, and we gradually learn that the neighborhood believes that Marcus betrayed a Panther comrade and was responsible for his death. This is not an action movie. It is a movie about loss, grief and regret, and the feeling that history has moved on. Bostic symbolizes this by joining the Black Muslims, a group that at the time represented a similar rejection of white society and even a somewhat similar iconography. Bostic has moved on from the past. He is eager to sell the family home. Beyond the Lights, 2014. Have you ever felt overshadowed because you do not fit the stereotype of the ideal girl that many people have in mind? Well, you're probably gonna like this one. Beyond the Lights is a movie directed by Gina Prince Bythewood that follows the story of an ambitious young woman played by Gugu Mbatha Raw, who dives into the world of success and fame. Despite its predictable structure, the movie stands out for its active dynamic, brisk pace, and chemistry between the leads. Gugu Mbatha Raw delivers an intense and sincere performance, while Nate Parker deftly plays the role of the savior hero. Prince Bythewood's direction is praised for taking a seemingly cliched story and turning it into something fresh and authentic. The movie explores themes of identity and the importance of authenticity in relationships. Although it follows the structure of a classic romance, it stands out for its well-crafted staging and a narrative that is compelling even if you know the plot in advance. Mississippi Masala, 1991.
I've never been to India.
Never been to India?
No.
You kidding?
No, I'm not. I'm a mixed masala.
What's masala?
How about something more romantic and at the same time a social criticism? That's where Mississippi Masala, directed by Mira Nair, comes in. It follows the story of a family of Ugandan Indians who are forced out of their country in 1972 and settle in Mississippi. The plot focuses on the daughter, Mina, who falls in love with an African-American man, defying cultural expectations and facing racism from both communities. Released in 1991, the film explores the complexities of identity and the search for home. The success of Nair, known for Salam Bombay, lies in her authentic and courageous approach to issues of race and home. The chemistry between Denzel Washington and Sarita Chowdhury, as well as Edward Lackman's vibrant cinematography, stand out on screen. Despite its acclaim upon release, the film's rights became complicated over time. But a 4K restoration spearheaded by Nair and Janus Films brought it back to prominence in 2021. In an interview, Nair talks about the journey to reclaim the rights and the importance of telling authentic stories. The film highlights the university of struggle and yearning, while questioning notions of home. A proponent of true representation, Nair mentions other notable female directors and celebrates the shift in the perception of women in cinema. The restoration of Mississippi Masala recovers a cinematic gem and underscores the importance of telling authentic and diverse stories. The Last Black Man in San Francisco, 2019. The Last Black Man in San Francisco is a drama directed by Joe Talbot that follows the story of Jimmy Fails, a young African American in the San Francisco Bay Area. Jimmy longs to reclaim the Victorian house he grew up in, built by his grandfather in 1946, but currently occupied by an elderly couple. When the couple is forced to leave due to family disputes, Jimmy and his friend Mont have the chance to explore the house again. However, they discover that the story of Jimmy's grandfather building the house is false. The plot is complicated by the death of Jimmy's childhood friend, Kofi, and the revelation of uncomfortable truths. The film explores themes of identity, loss, and gentrification in San Francisco. Released in 2019, it was recognized at the Sundance Film Festival and stands out for its artistic and emotional approach to storytelling. Farming. 2018. Farming follows the life of Enitan, a young Nigerian who was handed over by his parents to a British family in the 1980s in search of a better future. Raised in a hostile environment, Enitan joins a skinhead gang despite his African heritage. Directed by Adewale Akinoye Agbaje, the film is based on the director's own experiences. The story explores the phenomenon known as farming, where Nigerian children were sent to live with British families. In the process, Enitan struggles with his identity and acceptance, even engaging in racist behavior. The cast includes Damson Idris, Kate Beckinsale, and Gugu Mbata Raw. Farming explores themes of identity, racism, and the consequences of a controversial practice in British history. Middle of Nowhere, 2012. Middle of Nowhere, a 2012 dramatic film directed by Ava DuVernay, unfolds the poignant story of Ruby, a registered nurse from Compton who sacrifices her aspirations to support her incarcerated husband, Derek. The narrative follows Ruby's emotional journey as she uncovers hidden truths about Derek's actions and confronts the social pressures surrounding his case. Drawing on personal experience and extensive research, DuVernay authentically portrays the struggles of women in similar situations, exploring themes of love and resilience in unconventional settings. Made on a modest budget of $200,000, the film premiered at the 2012 Sundance Film Festival, where DuVernay won the Best Director Award. Critically acclaimed for its wise and compassionate storytelling, remarkable performances, and DuVernay's exceptional directorial talent, Middle of Nowhere offers a unique perspective on love and self-discovery in challenging circumstances. The Watermelon Woman, 1996. The Watermelon Woman, directed by Cheryl Dunye, is a groundbreaking romantic dramedy and the first film directed by a Black lesbian. The story follows Cheryl, a young Black lesbian working in a video store, who decides to make a documentary about Faye Richards, a Black actress from the 1930s known for her stereotypical roles. The film explores Cheryl's quest to discover Faye's identity, addressing issues of representation and historical invisibility. The Watermelon Woman is praised for its wit, irreverence, and Cheryl Dunye's talent as a director. Its inclusion in the 2021 U.S. National Film Registry recognizes its cultural and historical significance. With a 92% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, it remains a poignant exploration of identity and representation in cinema. These were some of the many movies we can give a chance, but these are the ones that caught my attention the most. But now, tell me, which one would you like to see? Personally, I recommend all of them. But if you have any recommendations, I'd love to hear them in the comments. And of course, if you made it to this part of the video, I invite you to subscribe, like, and hit the bell so you don't miss any future content.